Welcome to the April Reiki Reiju, and we've been discussing a little bit about the topic, and we've had quite an interesting discussion actually in terms of where this impulse is for life flow. And often we hear this idea of following our hearts, and actually there is in the group discussion we had, there was this thought of, well, where do these impulses come from in the body? And I think that's quite important for us to start really coming into our bodies and starting to really identify where our different layers are. And one of the things that I've noticed in myself is that when I get quite agitated, so this is just for you to start becoming more self-inquiring. Where am I in my body when, for example, I start to feel distressed, when you're feeling anxious, when you're feeling a bit sad or low mood, when you're feeling excited, when you're feeling sure? Where are these all sitting in your energy system, in your body system? And when you're in your mind, like I notice when I'm watching the news, for example, and I'm getting uptight about something, all my energy comes up to here. It all comes up. Now, I might feel it in my body. I might feel it as anxiety, butterflies, my heart, my chest might start feeling tight because the thinking emotions are all linked up. So my thinking mind is like, and all my thoughts around that. But then it migrates down into my heart center, which is my kind of emotional center, which might start to kind of grip in terms of the thoughts are starting to create certain emotions that are running through my body. Now, starting to observe what has gripped me really helps me to then identify, is this really just me going on my little patterns, my little habits, or is this me moving into a deeper reality? And what I mean by that is my own life flow. So is it within my own life flow to get all agitated with all of this stuff? Or is it in my life flow to lower my energy? And one of the things that we were discussing is when you have a certain surety about something, it might be a life direction, it might be a decision to go left instead of right. Often that comes from a deeper, lower place in the body. We often talk about the gut instinct. So when you start to identify where is that impulse, and I don't try not to use the word feeling, even though that comes out my mouth a lot, because feeling is more an emotion, whereas a knowing or an impulse is more of a deeper movement of energy that often doesn't sit in the brain, doesn't sit up in the mind. It actually sits much lower down in the body. So one of the things that is always one of the benefits of Reiki is that Reiki really helps you get back into your body, right? As we do our Reiki, because we're touching ourselves, different parts of our body, we're connecting with our body, and the Reiki itself is flowing through the body, helping the body and calming down the mind, calming down your nervous system, calming down your immune system, your emotional body. Everything is getting very gently integrated back around the body. Now, one of the things we can't get away from is that we are a body. Now, when I say that, I don't mean we're only the body, but part of our identity, or part of our, that's wrong, part of our awareness is the shining through the body. Like, we don't shine through a chair or a plant. There is a consciousness within all of that, but it's not our consciousness, something we're aware of. So our awareness is identified, whether you like it or not, with this vehicle that we call our body. Now, when we start to dislocate from that, or we start to kind of rise up and only go into the thinking mind, we kind of disassociate from the body And then it becomes very, very difficult for us to identify, is the thinking we're doing actually moving us along the harmonious flow of our life, or is it jarring? Is it taking us in a different direction? Is it taking us off? Now, you could also argue that's not possible, because everything in life, every flow in life is happening and therefore perfectly fine, exactly as it is. But I'm sure that you've also had the experience that when you relax, so let's say you're going along your life and everything's like, then you do your Reiki and there's an easing. Now, so there is also this balance of, there might be a certain flow to life, and maybe part of that flow is for you to go off a little bit and to get all stressed out and then to come back, maybe. And maybe actually we pile on a lot of extra suffering and a lot of extra angst and a lot of extra unnecessary pain and anxiety and depression and all the rest of it, because we start to attach to a lot of our thinking. And the other thing around where in our body things are happening is that once you start to notice that things are happening around the emotions, or they're happening around the thinking, and you can find ways, whether it's your Reiki practice, meditation practice, yoga, whatever it is that you're doing that helps you to bring yourself back into embodiment, that kind of clears things. And then as you clear things, that does allow for a different depth of knowing to come up. So I think that part of this is, at the moment there is, well, not at the moment, for years now, there's been this very difficult energy around our environment in terms of everything we've been through with COVID and all the fallout afterwards, and it's still ongoing. So part of our job is to stay as embodied as we can as we work through this. And we were also discussing how many of us have started to feel, okay, there's a direction. There is a kind of a direction that's starting to come in more and more clearly, even though we may not be able to see what the actual goal is. And that to me is a real, like a real hint that we are really shifting into a more flow-led or flow-based life. Whereas, say, even 5 years ago, we would have been much more goal-driven and goal-focused life. Now it's much more in terms of a general flow and direction and journey, rather than the final outcome being so goal-oriented, which I kind of like, because I think that probably sets us up for much bigger potential than us in our minds setting a goal, which tends to be quite small, rather than going out there and just allowing life to flow and for the goals to kind of present themselves, right? Depending on where we are and what we're doing, and trusting that flow, and trusting that life actually has much bigger goals for us than we could think up ourselves, which I kind of like the idea of personally. So the meditation, the Reiki, the healing that we're going to do is more around just opening maybe to the different sensations of the body. We'll see what happens when we get in. And we start off with the Reiki attunement. So in the Reiki attunement, I always like to start with hands in Gassho, because I feel that that's a nice way of bringing the body together. We take a few breaths together, and then I'm just going to invite you to open to Reiki and just see what happens as it comes in. We do a little guided meditation, and then we just see how it unfolds. The nice thing is we try and tune in as a group. Even if you're listening to this afterwards, the group energy doesn't disappear, right? The group energy, there is a container that kind of manifests and grows around it. And this might sound a bit weird, but as we create the container, it's a timeless thing. So you may even be able to feel a lot more people, because people listen to the meditation afterwards, and you may even feel them in the now, because essentially there is really no time. So we are experiencing everything all instantaneously. Might sound a bit weird, but Why not? It's a Sunday. Okay, I'm gonna just pause my video now, and you're welcome to do whatever you like with it, but starting to bring your hands into Gassho prayer pose in front of your heart center, gently closing your eyes, and you're just starting to check in with your body. Is it comfortable? Feet on the floor. Your back is nicely supported. Start to bring your focus to the breath, and every exhale, relaxing the body. And then bringing your attention up to the top of the head, the crown chakra. Imagining 1,000-petaled lotus right at the top of your head. And imagine that it opens. If it's already open, it's just a little bit more open. And as it expands, you might even feel the top of your head feels more open, more expansive, maybe some tingling. And then on the inhale, you're just breathing in the Reiki attunement, just asking for Reiki to attune every cell into your hands as well. And using the breath. So you're inhaling in through the crown, into the chest, the belly, and exhaling out into the hands. And then very gently bringing your hands down anywhere on the body. So might be on the lap. Some people like the idea of on the belly, or one hand on the belly, one hand on the chest. So you can play around with it, and you can move your hands anytime that you feel like it, but try and have your palms against your body so that you are allowing the flow of Reiki to come through your hands and into the body. So let's just play with that to start with. Wherever your hands are, just start to notice the hands themselves. Continuing to breathe in through the crown, breathe out all the way down the arms, out the hands, as if the breath itself is encouraging Reiki to come through the hands into the body. And for some of you, you might notice the hands are a bit tingly. You might even notice heat or cold, vibrations, a prickly sensation. But even if you feel nothing, just being with whatever is. And then very gently bringing your attention to the rest of the body, starting off around the face, the eyes, and using the out breath to relax. And then down the neck into the shoulders, relaxing on the exhale. Relaxing down the arms, into the hands and fingers. Into the chest, the belly, relaxing all the muscles around the belly, the pelvis, all the way down the back. Into the hips, down the legs, relaxing the knees, all the way down the calves, into the feet. Taking a moment with the feet, just observing the pressure of your feet on the floor. And you could even imagine that from the feet itself, you have these energetic anchors. Maybe like a funnel of light or an actual anchor dropping down through the floor into the earth. See if that helps you feel grounded and solid, part of the earth structure itself. And then just taking a moment right now. Where are you with your thoughts? Where is your attention? And you could bring your attention up into the mind itself, around the forehead, into the brain. And just notice the effect of the thoughts. You might be thinking about random things, just allowing whatever it is to pop in and out. And then see if you can notice that part of you that is observing the thinking. It's not really that part of you in the mind, but a more gentle awareness. Might even feel as if you're observing from slightly behind, or even above or below. But this feeling of watching the thinking. And this may be difficult, or you may be imagining it or thinking about it. It may just appear on the peripherals, a sense that there is an observer. Or a presence, an awareness of these thoughts as they come and they go. And then very gently just using that awareness to drop down into the chest and the heart center. And sometimes it's useful to use the breath, following the attention of the breath into the chest. And noticing the emotional body. Perhaps it feels peaceful and calm. Perhaps it feels agitated. Maybe there's contentment, maybe sadness, probably a mixture as you notice each emotion come and go, also rising and falling. And see if you can notice again that presence or awareness, even though it might be affected, as you're affected by thoughts, you're affected by feelings, but you can also detach, observe. Not getting too attached to any feeling, knowing that even if you're feeling calm and relaxed, in the next moment you could feel angry or sad, joyful. then journeying a little deeper down into the belly. See if you can go all the way down, observing not only the belly, but deep into the hips, the pelvis. Noticing a different kind of peace. Might even notice a depth or darkness, which is soothing. A place of stillness. Where there's no need to move, no desire to move before the thinking and the emotions. And yet see if you can also feel a potentiality, a great power for movement and action, latent. And see if you can take that energy and very gently breathe it all the way up into the chest, the heart center, up into the mind, so that it infuses and informs the rest of your body, down the arms, down the legs. You may visualize it as a deep, dark, soothing, like the depths of the ocean or a deep cave. Or it may come as a different energy, a different color, a different feeling. But just allowing yourself to balance your entire system. And seeing if you can notice the energy around the body. You may consider it your aura, or the environment, the air around you. See if you can balance with the energy around you, harmonizing yourself with the room, with the air, the furniture, the plants, if you have any. Balancing yourself with nature. Remembering to breathe. To stay relaxed. Notice if you get drawn into thinking, how your energy gets drawn up into the head, into a different space. And by connecting back with the breath, embodying into the body, bringing your attention back down to the feet or the pelvis. And just staying with this integration, just allowing yourself to be in perfect harmony with your environment, with your mind, your emotions, your latent potential and power. All aligned, harmonized, and balanced. And coming into this space frequently, daily, so that you can recognize all actions, where they come from, whether they're balanced, whether they're in harmony with your potential, with your power. Dropping your attention once again down to the feet. Checking in on the grounding. Are they feeling nice and solid? Noticing the floor. Very gently wiggling your toes. And then very gently starting to move around the ankles, around the calves, squeezing the thighs, gently rocking around the hips and pelvis. Breathing a little bit more deeply into the belly, up into the chest, the shoulders. Giving your fingers a little squeeze. Moving your arms. If it feels right, you can stretch your arms above your head, giving them a little shake and a wiggle all the way down the spine. And whenever you're ready, opening your eyes.